Now I think most of the content of the page sort of has what we want, but it doesn't look too good, right? This is kind of just like a really bland web page that looks blank and doesn't look good at all. So how are we going to make this look a little bit better? Well, it turns out that there's sort of two different types of, two main parts of a web page. There's sort of the content on the page. The content is the HTML, the stuff that we've been dealing with before. And then there's also sort of the styles. So styles are focused on making it look good. So the styles, another word for those is CSS, or cascading style sheets. And that's just another way to say the rules that sort of describe how this whole thing looks. So we're going to be using CSS, cascading style sheets, to make this look good. So let's jump back into the Sublime edit right over here, and let's give us a spot to add CSS. So most of the time what you'll want to do is you'll want to put your CSS in a different file separate from your web page. But getting started, it's a little bit easier just to sort of put it inside the HTML document that you have. So since we're just starting out, let's just kind of do that right now. So I'm going to make a little bit of space. So we have this opening H tag or opening head tag, and we have this closing head tag. Let's add it inside here. So what we want to do is we want to do this opening tag. We're going to type the word style, closing, and then just close that tag out. So the idea is inside between the style and the closing style tag, this is where we're allowed to sort of add the rules that describe what our web page looks like. Okay, so you'll want to look around for a web page that has an image that you think would look really good as a background. I have an image that I found that I think looks pretty good, but you can just find an image using sort of either Google image search or Flickr or something like that. And if you do it, make sure the permissions of the image make it good to look for. So if we do something like a BG, maybe background image, and do an image search for that, you can see a bunch of different things. You also have sort of search tools, and you can say like usage rights. Make sure you follow all of the right stuff to find a good image there. And you can find, using sort of the standard search tools, awesome images. I found this one a while back, and I think this looks pretty good. I think this would make a really awesome background to a web page. So I'm going to use this one. You should find an image of your own that you think would make a good background image for your web page. Usually they look pretty good if they're pretty big, so they'll basically take up the whole web page. You can see that this is kind of a pretty big size web image. So I'm going to go with this one. So I'm going to save it into the same directory or the same folder that my web page actually itself lives. So we saved this me.html file, as you can remember before, and we saved that into just our documents folder. So I'm going to save this into my documents folder as well. So get the image, depending on how you do, make sure you have sort of the actual image here. So the URL ends in some sort of an image thing right here, and it looks like that. So I'm going to right click this, hit save image as, and you can see a bunch of different files that I could potentially save it as, but I want to save it in the same place as this me.html. So I'm going to go into this main user that I have, so that's the place that has the home, so that's my home directory, and I'm going to go into the documents, and maybe I'll call this just bg.jpg. So I'll call it something like that, save the file. Cool, so now this file that we have here, we just saved that image. And again, you'll probably download a different image, or I'll also include sort of the image that I took so you can use the same image if you want on your background image. Okay, how do we actually start using this? So to start using this, we're going to have to reference this image. So basically, we're going to have to tell our document that this is what should be as the background image. So to do that, I'm going to jump into the Sublime edit that we have over here. And again, we have this opening style tag and the closing style tag. So everything inside this is special, and this is going to be the rules that define sort of what should our web page look like. So that's what we actually care about. And the first rule that I want to do is the rule that's going to describe how should the background look. So to describe the background, I'm going to start with this body. So I'm going to type B-O-D-Y, a space, And now this is going to be a little different than before. So I'm going to do this curly bracket and then make a little bit of white space, and then it automatically gives me this sort of closing curly bracket right here. So we have the opening curly bracket, the closing curly bracket. And the main idea here is everything inside this section here is describing how should everything inside this look. Right, so what we want to do is we want to say everything inside the body, or everything that is actually displayed on the page, we want to have the background image of that image that we just got. So let's add that to it now. And to add that, we're going to have to tell it that the background image is the image that we just downloaded. So we're going to start by typing background, then a colon, space, the letters URL, this opening paren. It'll automatically give you this closing paren, so the paren is just another name for a parenthesis, and then a single quote, and then we'll just call it the image. So we can see down here that we saved the image as bg.jpg, so we're going to just call it the same thing. So bg.jpg. Now I'll save this. Let's hop back into our Chrome browser, go back to this me.html part of the tab right over here, and refresh this over here.